Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Well, the holidays are here and we're eating our way through them. And sometimes not always the best way. So we're going to talk about that and offer you help for the holidays and help for your troubled tummy. Because let's be honest, a lot of times you're going to eat stuff or already have, and then it just doesn't agree with you. Why is that? Let's dig deeper into that. She's a eating psychology coach and a doTERRA wellness advocate, and she's back with us on the program. Holly Agnew is here. Welcome back, Holly. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. Yeah, right after Thanksgiving is when we're doing this, and I'm still dealing with my turkey coma, which at least typically the turkey's not bad. It's the stuff that's around it, including the stuffing. Probably not the best thing for you, but where do we start with that? Because it's going to be so tempting during the holidays. That stuff is going to be there. People are going to be putting food in front of you. You're going to be tempted. Where do you go with that?
Well, first of all, let's think about what kind of digestive issues you have or that you have had. Okay. And then let's think about what good digestion looks like and what it doesn't look like. Okay. So good digestion, we have clearer thinking, more energy, a stronger immune system, and better overall health. Now, if it's challenged, we tend to have low energy. Thinking is not as quick. We may be more stressed or anxious. We may look for ways to self-medicate to relieve the discomfort. And digestive issues have many names, such as bloating, belching, heartburn, indigestion, feeling overfull, to things like irritable bowel, Crohn's disease, and leaky gut, to name a few.
Yeah, and I'm learning more and more about leaky gut syndrome, and not a good thing. Let's just put it that way, where it can
A lot of Americans have that and don't even realize it, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I'm not the expert, I'm not the doctor, but from my understanding, it's basically where things that are in your stomach or intestines are slowly leaking into your system, your body.
Right. Yeah, and that's not a good thing because they're meant to stay in your gut.
Exactly right. And that's just one health aspect of what we could be dealing with. So you gave the symptoms of how we could know that maybe the food is not agreeing with us. And it probably a lot of people saw and heard that and said, wow, that's me. Or I never realized that, clarity and focus is a byproduct of not eating the right kind of foods or foods that agree with your system.
Right. So in order to understand that, you have to let's take a look at the digestive organs just so you have an idea that it's a bigger picture. It's not just your digestive system. Your digestive system plays into so many different areas of your life and other organs in your body, because if your digestive system doesn't work correctly, then most other things don't either.
Exactly. Yeah. What would you say, based in working with people and what you've heard, you've got a medical background as well. What is the number one challenge that we have in terms of digestion? Is it food sensitivity? Is it, lower digestive tract issues? What do you think?
Well, that's really hard to narrow down because there's just so many things out there. I mean, a lot of people have food sensitivities just because our food supply is not what it used to be. And most people don't even realize that they have them. But if they eliminate some of those things from their diet for a period of time, they'll figure it out. Because I know with me, I've done that. And I know, like, I'm sensitive to gluten, I'm sensitive to wheat products. So that doesn't mean I always stop eating them because they're good.
Right.
But I do know what they do to my body. And when it happens, I can't say, well, that's the food's fault. That's my fault for eating the food.
What did you personally notice changed when you eliminated gluten products?
Well, again, my brain fog came back for a time. My nose starts running. My sinuses get clogged if I eat too much, and I just kind of feel bleh, kind of sluggish and not good.
Interesting, because I've often thought that the runny nose and that kind of congestion after you eat is potentially a a GERD issue where it's a reflux, where it's your body is secreting things to protect itself, and that's why you get that.
Well, it can be, but that builds over time too. That just doesn't happen overnight. That's from that other things cause that. And I know since when I eliminated gluten products and wheat products from my life, like I used to have like a chronic like clearing my throat thing,
Mm.
and just like just kind of feel like full in my head. It's like I don't know how to explain it, but once I quit eating those, like I don't have the cough, I don't have the clearing the throat thing, and I know that's what it's from.
I may be gluten sensitive
A
because
lot of
I
people are.
a lot of people are, yeah, and I didn't realize that that was one of the yeah, the side effects or one of the conditions once you eat gluten. So, got to keep an eye on that, and maybe on my end do the same thing you did, eliminate it and see if that goes away. Because I just assumed that, you know what, it's just from, you know, but it's what I just realized as I'm thinking about it, that really amped up congestion after you eat, clearing the throat and all of that. After I had what I thought was a cold or an allergy back in like October, a couple of months ago, whatever, September, late. Um, so maybe it was, a sensitivity to gluten and allergic. You're really having an allergic reaction.
Yeah, it's not a bad one, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. Okay. The stuff you learn when you talk to Holly. All right. What are some of the other things that we should be mindful of?
Well, first of all, let's talk about the digestive organs. They
Sure.
are your mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, liver, gallbladder, pancreas, and the enteric nervous system. And most of the processes don't require any conscious decision from us, which is good. The two main places we have control are chewing and swallowing. So we want to make sure that we chew our food good so that the enzymes are able to break it down easier. The bigger the chunks are of food that you swallow, the harder it is for your body to digest it. After that, our bodies take over the processes. But think about this. What if we were more involved in the process? Many of our daily practices and habits that relate to digestion can limit it, inhibit it, challenge it, and can eventually weaken it to the point of unwanted symptoms and breakdown. Digestion lets us know if we're stressed, if we're eating something toxic to our bodies, if there's something we need to pay attention to, or if we've eaten something nourishing or maybe not so nourishing to our bodies.
Hmm.
So whatever we put in our mouths is either going to help our health, is either going to improve our health or make it more challenged. To have good health, we have to have good digestion, and digestion takes place primarily in the stomach and intestines. However, it requires the participation from other organs like the liver, gallbladder, pancreas, adrenals, and thyroid. Our digestive system also helps to protect the immune system, which is a big deal, especially this time of the year.
Totally.
And up to 70% of our immune system is in our digestive tract. So if our digestive tract isn't healthy, the rest of our body tends to be healthier.
Especially as we get into the colder months, COVID is kicking up again. Not a severe strain or severe symptoms for the most part as it was, but to your point, your immune system has to be intact. So you can truly compromise your immune system by not eating properly.
Yep. Yeah, you'd
Wow.
be surprised.
Is
So
it
think
is it the
there's
things that you eat or the things you don't eat that compromise your immune system, or both?
both.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, there are three main things that can affect your digestion, and these are non-food factors. Okay, and we've kind of talked about these before. The first one is stress. So stress can have a profound effect on so many areas in our lives and our bodies, but digestion in particular affects many of those other areas. How your digestive system is acting is its way of getting your attention to let you know that something needs to be addressed. And it also diminishes digestive blood flow, gut bacteria, gut enzymes, gut peristalsis, which is how quickly how food moves through your digestive tract, gut oxygen, gut immunity, nutrient absorption, natural appetite regulation, transit time of food, which is how quickly it gets from where you take it in to where you let it out, gastric emptying time regulation, and stomach acid regulation. So that's just one aspect. The other one is eating speed. So eating speed, we've talked about
Hmm.
a little bit in the past. But the problem with fast eating for most people is that it's simply learned at a young age. And habits are very difficult to change, as we all know. So many times when we eat, we do so without thinking about it because that's the way we've been conditioned and that's what we're familiar with. Slowing down eating requires practice and a conscious commitment. And fast eating can come with many complaints, including indigestion, heartburn, and fatigue after meals. Usually when one has trouble slowing down while eating, one also may have a diet lower in fiber, low in essential fatty acids, and low in macronutrients, and instead have one that's high in sugar, high in low quality fats and additives and preservatives. And unfortunately, many either don't want to make the connection between what they eat and the feelings they're experiencing, and just go ahead and eat those foods.
Yeah. Slowing down your eating, I think the best advice there, because it's so important, is be present. So many
Right.
of us are either watching TV, online, doing something else instead of sitting there and actually enjoying their meal.
Right. And I just did a class on this Tuesday night, and the picture I show with the slide is, somebody sitting at their desk while eating, or somebody sitting in front of the TV and eating. You just don't, when you do that, you're not really paying attention to what you're eating. And if you do that, like if you go and sit and eat in front of the TV, take a certain portion and leave the rest in the kitchen. So that way you have to get up and go get it. And that way you're at least thinking about what you're how much you're putting in. You may not be thinking about what you're putting in as much, but you're thinking about how much you're putting in.
100%. Yeah. It's, we've, like you said, it's all about habit. And I'll be the first to admit, I like eating in front of my computer, my PC at home. I'm just, it's like you get two things done at once. It's become a habit, and it's
Right.
not the best habit. And are you really enjoying your food when you're focused on something else?
Mhm.
You can't, because you're
Yeah.
even if you're in the presence of somebody else and eating, you're taking focus off what you're eating. Because when let's say you go to a restaurant by yourself, sit down, food comes, it's you. You're focused on the food, the flavor. I got to tell you, that's probably been the best meals I've ever had
Mhm.
because you're thinking about it and really enjoying it.
Yep, it sure is. So that brings us to the next one, which is lack of awareness.
Mm,
So there's this thing called the cephalic phase digestive response that has a set of requirements for optimum digestion, assimilation, elimination, and appetite regulation. They are aroma, taste, pleasure, satisfactions, and the visuals that go with any given meal. So what might constitute lack of awareness? Again, we just talked about it: multitasking while eating, eating while working, eating while standing up, moving around and doing things, eating while watching TV without paying attention to our food. I know I'm guilty.
oh yeah.
um, Quite a bit of the time, unfortunately. And the other thing to think about is many people take medications without thinking about the adverse effects on their body, such as antibiotics. Okay, so antibiotics play a huge role in what happens in your gut. If you take a bunch of them, it's going to kill not just the bad stuff, it's going to kill the good stuff. So, and many people don't think about that when they take things like Prilosec and Tums, because that alters how your digestive system works as well. And other medications like Advil, Tylenol, Motrin, and Aleve can cause unwanted digestive symptoms too.
And then it
So,
all gets us into taking medication during a meal or not. That number one thing is check with your doctor on that one. So important.
right. Yeah, I mean, it's always important to keep your doctor in the loop. I'm not one that goes to the doctor a lot because I know my body, and like I said, I have a medical background, but it's important to keep your doctor in the loop. If you have things going on, just to give you an example, my husband had a heart attack a year ago, and his symptoms were not heart related, they were digestive related. He had heartburn, indigestion, he just didn't feel right. So it's important to pay attention to those things, and if they keep going on, to get the attention that you need. because he was popping Tums like they were going out of style, and they didn't work. So just pay attention, get to know your body, I guess is what I'm saying. Know what your normal feels like, and what it doesn't feel like to be normal.
And check into it, because just what you said, I experienced that. And I did always wonder, is it a heart issue? Turned out to be an ulcer. But even from time to time, when I feel, what a reoccurring ulcer might come back with a lot of stress. It's like 5 years, but recently, every once in a while, if your stress comes back, and I always wonder, and it's like, all right, I'm thinking about it. Let's see where we go with that. A lot of times, I'll press my stomach. I'm like, it went away for a second. So it's probably the ulcer. But again, you need to be mindful of what's going on with you in your body.
Right. And the sad or funny part about it is I worked in a cath lab, so I worked with heart patients all the time. And I had trouble recognizing the symptoms because he didn't have the normal symptoms.
Yep.
So just keep that in mind. When you have digestive things, it's not always digestive. It can't, most of the time it is, but not always.
Yeah, and also women. It's completely, or many times radically different in terms of the symptoms, the traditional symptoms for women when they're experiencing a heart attack or the beginning of one.
Mm-hmm. It sure does.
So what do we do? I know that you are a doTERRA wellness advocate. It's changed doTERRA, the products have changed your life radically. If you're dealing with digestion issues, stomach issues, where do you start? What's your first thought? Like you said before, if you think it might be gluten, you got to take the proactive role and eliminate those products, and then see how you react past that. But how do you know when it's time to introduce products, supplements, or whatever?
Well, most Americans live on what I call the SAD diet, which is the standard American diet. And it's nutritionally depleted. So the best place to start is with a good multivitamin. And we have one called the Lifelong Vitality Pack that has the essential fatty acids, the vitamins and minerals, and it gives your body what it needs, because your body has this wonderful ability to be able to repair itself if you give it what it needs. And that's a big if, because most people don't. And one big thing you can do, which has nothing to do with doTERRA, is cut out sugar. Because sugar is it's white poison. It's not going to help your body. And if you're sick or starting to feel bad, the more sugar you eat, the more fuel you're giving that sickness. So you want to make sure you keep that out of your body. The next thing, like when I'm a little rumbly in the tumbly, when I eat certain foods like pasta and red sauces, I like to take a digestive enzyme called Terrazyme. So that has a bunch of different digestive enzymes in there that help to break down the food and make it more useful to my body. And we actually did this experiment where we had oatmeal and we mixed it up like you regularly would. And we opened one of the capsules and put it in there and mixed it up. And you could see it digesting the food, which was really cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are there any, call it, side effects from taking any of these that you know of? Like if you take those enzymes, if you have a sensitive stomach, could it cause any bloating, anything like that?
From what I've experienced and what other people have told me, it's helped to take away the bloating and the indigestion, or I shouldn't say indigestion, the sensitivity to different things.
Sure.
So I haven't heard of them. I'm not saying they can't happen, but I haven't heard of any.
Wow. And you've been with this line for a while, so you would be aware of those things. I have to believe that we all need to take a supplement, a vitamin supplement. And great to hear that these products have the fatty acids and everything. Because if you're taking just a regular multivitamin, you're probably not getting that. But I have to believe that we're all not eating right. There's no way you're getting everything that you need to get in your body.
No, we're not. And our food supply makes it very difficult to eat healthfully, because all the junk food, which when I say junk food, I'm not talking about just, chips and candy and that kind of stuff. I'm talking about the stuff that comes in boxes. When you shop in the middle of the grocery store, most of that is junk, because it's not real food. It's not whole foods.
Mm-hmm.
So they are harder. they're less expensive than to buy the whole foods. But if you start eating the whole foods, your body will adjust and it'll be so much healthier than you will be on those other foods. And people say, well, it's more expensive. Yes and no. Think about this. Think about how much time you're spending at the doctor on all these different medications and all that kind of thing, because all that adds up. That's all healthcare, which is really sick care in our society. So the money you're spending on all those medications, the antacids and the, all the over the counter stuff or prescription stuff that you might be able to come off of if you eat a whole food diet, that's just redirecting your money to something that's better for you.
Interesting thought when you put it in that perspective. You're taking the money from here and putting it over to there in terms of your health and wellness. It's going somewhere. So
yeah,
wouldn't you rather feel better, be proactive, and head that off of the pass, as opposed to taking that money and then now have to pay a copay with the doctor because you're not feeling well because you've been eating garbage? And it just, we've made it so easy to eat the wrong things. And
right. And that's the way, my personal opinion is, that's the way they want it to be. They want it to be easy and they want us to be sick.
Can't disagree with that.
I mean, if you go to any other country in the world, you can't just go like to the convenience store and buy a meal. You actually have to fix it. And most people, that's the problem. Most people don't want to fix a meal, or they don't have time. But there's ways around that. You can get things like Hello Fresh or something like that, where they send you all the stuff. All you got to do is throw it together. It takes 30 minutes.
Exactly.
There's ways around it.
To your point, Holly, eye opener for me even yesterday, because my son he's very much into the Japanese culture. So we've been looking into it, and maybe someday we're going to go. We talk about it. So had some time yesterday and put on Netflix, and I just typed in Japan, and they had this cooking show where they were making all different types of things. If you were to watch what that culture is like, what you're saying, it's like from farm to table. There's nothing in between.
Right.
And it's they're healthy.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it really, really is. When you take a look at now, walk into a convenience store here, and I bet you, like you said, in other countries, you're not going to find that. They're not going to be there. You're not going to, there may be a couple of convenient things, but they're healthy at the same time. If somebody wants to learn more about doTERRA, and it seems you're going to pay more for a better product, but it's going to keep you have the peace of mind that you're getting a better product, right?
Right. And the other thing about our oils, like that is not so much so for the other oils out there, is you can take our oils internally. So they have a food fact label on, just like you would find on any other foods, that let you know that they are safe to take internally. And internal benefits can be amazing, depending on what you want to use them for. Like my husband is sick right now, unfortunately, and I just made up a veggie cap, which is just an empty, like you know how medicine comes in, you can break it open. You can get those empty, put the essential oils in them, and he can take it just like a regular pill. He gets the essential oils in his body. They help to give his body what he needs to get healthy.
Wow. Didn't even know that was even possible. Huh.
Yeah.
So where do we learn all about that? We can reach out to you. It's on the website. What do we do?
You can reach me at www.hollysHolisticHealth.net or at Holly's Holistic Health, Holly at hollysHolisticHealth.net, or 410-430-6791.
So I think I speak for a lot of people, but the starting point, you don't know where to begin, so if we're thinking healthy, thinking about supplements, other products, instead of eating garbage, I would need to start with you. I need to know how to begin, because there's a lot to know here. But somebody could reach out to you, I would assume, and say, hey, I'm having a problem here. This is what's going on. And you could direct them.
Right. Yep. And just so you know, I do give free consultations. They usually last 30 to 60 minutes, depending on the on the client.
Sure. Yeah, I learn a lot even just talking to you, like just what we talked about today. It's like, really? It's pretty scary because it's not just one of us. This is our lives living where we here in the States. Like you nailed it before. You go to other countries, you're not going to find those convenience meals. And
Oh,
we've made ourselves unhealthy. I hate to say it. Yeah, it's great to roll through a fast food restaurant. Unlike anybody else, give me those fries. But after a point, it's what are you doing to your body? What are you doing
yeah.
to your
See, I
body?
don't even eat fast food, so
Yeah. Well, I try not to, but I hit it up twice in a row this week and I'm not happy.
yeah. Well, and your body's going to tell you you're not happy because your body, what you eat, either feeds illness or it feeds health.
Yeah. And you feel sluggish too. It's a
Yeah.
cliche, but it's true. I felt it. The website again, hollysholistichealth.net. Holly, it's great having you on here and so timely with the holidays rolling in, and we're going to be making those choices in terms of food. So you got to treat yourself, but also at the same time, maybe this is the time to start something fresh with products like doTERRA.
Yes, and don't forget to put the www in front of the hollysholistichealth.net.
Gotcha. Yep, always forget that. All right.
Yeah, because we figured out that doesn't work.
Got it. And Holly, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. By the way, hope your hubby feels better soon.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, we'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.